The clerk will report the bill.
House File Number 861, number 6 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to transportation, the first engrossment.
Before we proceed to amendments, I will recognize the member from Dakota, the author of the bill, Representative Hansen, to explain the bill. Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. House File 861 is a bill relating to a deficiency bill. So it's a bill for this current fiscal year for the MNLARS system. The first section provides a little over $12 million from the general fund, the Commissioner of Public Safety, to continue the development of MNLARS, the Minnesota Licensing and Registration System. Of this amount, $5.5 million is for Phase 2 of the driver's license system. In addition, Section 2 shows $3.472 million from the general fund for customer service capacity for the driver vehicle services to meet the customer service needs. And then finally, when you get to Section 3, there's a progress report. Section 4 is a deputy registrar reimbursements. $10 million was in the governor's budget for this fiscal year for deputy registrar reimbursements. The formula that is laid out there, you should be receiving the runs for the numbers for your area based on that formula. And then finally, there is some taxpayer protection for documentation that the deputy registrars must submit documentation, conditions that they must continue to remain in business, and a settlement and release from liability. That, Madam Speaker, is the bill.
There is an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Hansen moves to amend House File Number 861, the first engrossment as follows. The amendment is coded A32.
Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd move the A32 amendment. This is a technical correction that there were some motions made in Ways and Means that didn't get brought through, so I'd ask for your support.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails. The amendment is adopted. There's an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Torkelson moves to amend House File Number 861, the first engrossment as amended, as follows, and the amendment is coded A31.
The member from Brown, Representative Torkelson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The A31 amendment gives oversight to the steering committee for these dollars. Steering committee has been established in statute to oversee the MNLARS process. Madam Chair, I believe there are amendments to the amendment.
There is an amendment to the amendment. The clerk will report the amendment.
Torkelson moves to amend his amendment to House File Number 861, the first engrossment as amended. The amendment to the amendment is coded A36.
Representative Torkelson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The A36 deletes a couple of provisions that were added to the bill during the process. One of them requires deputy registrars to stay in business for 1 year after the date of after this bill might pass to retain their funds that would be distributed in this bill. And the second portion of that puts them in a position where they cannot sue the state for losses. This amendment will remove both of those provisions. I urge a green vote.
Representative Hansen.
Madam Speaker, I would move a point of order under 3.21 Section B. An amendment to an amendment on the House floor must relate only to the primary amendment without introducing any new subject.
I've studied the amendment. I've reviewed the bill. I don't need any advice, and I am ruling that the point of order is well taken. There's another amendment to the amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Torkelson moves to amend his amendment to House File Number 861, the first engrossment as amended. The amendment to the amendment is coded A37.
Representative Torkelson.
Thank you. The A37 amendment simply removes one word in the bill. Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I've got my amendments mixed up. This would make deficiency funds subject to the MNLARS committee review.
Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would move a point of order under 3.21, Section B. An amendment to an amendment on the House floor must relate only to the primary amendment without introducing any new subject.
I find the point of order well taken.
Madam Chair,
There's another
advice.
amendment to the amendment at the desk.
Nash moves to amend the Torkelson amendment to House File Number 861, the first engrossment as amended. The amendment to the amendment is coded A47.
The member from Carver, Representative Nash.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, Representative Hansen, your bill is going to offer millions of dollars to fix MNLARS, and I had the pleasure of meeting the interim commissioner a couple times, and then in committee I asked him if he would be so kind as to give us the details of what that money was going to go for, and he promised that he would have it to me by the end of the week. Week came and went, another week came and went, and no details. But we're being asked to put more money into something that is a sucking chest wound from my perspective, and this is actually a live bill that I would like to get into committee, but the amendment basically says that we, the legislature, the writer of checks, have to write a check for any new software project moving forward. And members, for those of you who are brand new here that don't want your name all over the MNLARS stuff, think closely. This is important. You're going to want to follow this, because if you authorize this blank check to go to MNLARS with no details, no authority of the legislature over this, I believe you're going to wind up a little sad with that, and most of us are pretty sad with the performance of MNLARS, or as some might call it, min failure. So members, I would ask for your support on this amendment, and Madam Speaker, I would ask for a roll call.
Representative Nash requests a roll call. Seeing 15 hands, there will be a roll call. Representative Hansen.
Madam Speaker, I would move a point of order under 3.21, Section B. An amendment to an amendment on the House floor must relate only to the primary amendment without introducing any new subject.
Madam Speaker, advice.
Representative Nash, state your advice.
Madam Speaker, my advice is you are being asked tonight, members, to write a check. You're being asked to write a check, so therefore this should be a germane amendment because it provides for your vote, your oversight for all software projects moving forward. Madam Speaker, this is something we've talked about for the 4 years that I've been here, the failure of Minute. If you got your OLA report and you've read it, you should shake your head in shame. But as it relates to MNLARS, 2 years roughly that we've been going through this, and we want to give them more money to fix a piece of software that doesn't work. So, Madam Speaker, I would ask you to find my point, or Representative Hansen's point of order, not well taken.
Members, Rule 3.21B states that the amendment to the amendment is not germane if it does not relate to the topic within the underlying amendment and not introduce any new topics. Since we have a pre-filing rule, we're able to study these ahead of time. So I do appreciate the advice, but I find the point of order well taken. There's another amendment at the desk, and the clerk will report the amendment.
Torkelson moves to amend his amendment to House File Number 861, the first engrossment as amended, and the amendment to the amendment is coded A48.
Representative Torkelson.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I hesitate to even start because I think I'm going to get cut off before I can hardly say a word, Madam Chair. It seems that you're predetermined that you're going to rule everything not germane. For those of us that have been suffering through this MNLARS fiasco for some nearly 2 years now, this deserves a little more time and attention, Madam Chair. These are real issues. These are real problems that affect real people all across the state of Minnesota. Folks with driver's licenses and tabs and license plates have been unable to get the services they need. They've paid inappropriate numbers of dollars for the things they require, and deputy registrars that meet with the public on a daily basis have been forced to tell people they cannot give them the things that they need, or that they cannot give them the things they need in a timely fashion. This is a real problem for real people. Not talking about it is not going to help. This amendment, Madam Chair, talks about that the effective date, once the Commissioner of Minutes certifies MNLARS is fully functional, that at that point that this money would go forward. We're just trying to put these folks in MNLARS people in a place that they actually have to make this thing work before they get some money. They have been unable to perform up to this point, and their inability to provide the services that are needed for our citizens is a horrible, horrible situation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Under House Rules 3.21, Section B, an amendment to an amendment on the House floor must relate only to the primary amendment without introducing any new subject.
I find the point of order well taken. There's another amendment to the amendment at the desk.
That's it. Did we already do it? You did, yep.
We are on the underlying Torkelson amendment, the A31, to that amendment. Discussion. Representative Torkelson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I discussed this briefly earlier. This is an amendment that reports the details of MNLARS to the Oversight Committee. The Oversight Committee was established last year in statute. It meets on a quarterly, semi-quarterly basis. It's a combination committee that includes both members of the Senate and the House. The chair switches from meeting to meeting, and the chair, whoever has the next meeting, calls the next meeting, and we will be meeting soon, I would guess, in regard to the OLA report that's been mentioned already this evening. The OLA made it very clear that the administration has failed to administer MNLARS in a proper fashion, that administrative failures have resulted in this disaster. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
To the underlying amendment, Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And the underlying amendment, the A31 amendment, just makes some technical changes. However, we already have specific reporting requirements in the Oversight Committee, so this amendment is not needed, and I would encourage a no vote.
Representative Torkelson.
Call for a roll call.
Representative Torkelson requests a roll call. Seeing 15 hands, there will be a roll call. Seeing no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll on the amendment. The clerk will close the roll. There being 50 ayes and 73 nays, the motion does not prevail. The amendment is not adopted. There's an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Peterson moves to amend House File Number 861, the first engrossment as amended. The amendment is coded A40.
The member from Waseca, Representative Petersburg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Excuse me, Madam Speaker. I appreciate that. This amendment really is part of my frustration with what's happening with MNLARS, with the Department of Vehicle Services and Public Safety. And because of that, I would like to speak a few minutes and I will withdraw it so you don't have to deal with the procedural motions of it. But we really need to understand through the OLA report and all the other reports that we've had and those that are overseeing this program, how much the Department of Public Safety and Department of Vehicle Services, along with Minute, have really let down both this state and others. And so this amendment was really going to trying to penalize them for any kind of issues in regards to subpoenas that the OLA might have and give that money to the deputy registrars, which I really believe needs the funds. And so I have another amendment later that I would like to talk with. But really, folks, we need to help the deputy registrars. They've been taking on the chin for 2 years now, while everybody else in the upper level that are making all the mistakes are getting all their funding that they need. And so we need to do that. So at this point, Madam Speaker, I will withdraw this motion.
There is an amendment to the amendment. The clerk will report the amendment to the amendment.
Lucero moves to amend the Petersburg Amendment to House File Number 861, first engrossment as amended. The amendment to the amendment is coded A46.
The member from Wright, Representative Lucero.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, this amendment to the amendment deals with, it's actually a pretty minor, as a matter of fact, if you look at the language there. It removes
Representative Petersburg said he was going to withdraw his amendment. He did not then withdraw his amendment, so we took up the amendment to the amendment, which we are now on. Representative Lucero, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the amendment. The language that you can see that's being deleted is in regards to the definition, the current definition in statute of unauthorized acquisition. And part of that includes and with the intent to use the data for non-governmental purposes. In other words, if data was accessed unauthorized in a system, in a technology system by the state, one of the criteria is the intent to use the data for non-governmental purposes must exist. But in the absence of that intent, it's not considered unauthorized acquisition. And members, Madam Speaker, members, that is an unnecessary criteria in the modern day for unauthorized access. So this seeks to remove that. Now we have an example, and I have a headline here, very recent, and it is from, I'll pull it up here, December of last year, January of this year, I think it was reported that MNLARS system had 1,500 Minnesotans had their private data breached. It was sent without their permission. So the question becomes, when looking at this most recent example, does the criteria exist for non-governmental purposes? It becomes a gray area, an unnecessary gray area. And so if this language, if this amendment to the amendment is adopted, it'll be a very black and white that when there is information that's disclosed without authorization, it is very much a breach. And when there's a data breach, that sets off the process in current law for notification of the people whose information was impacted. So that's why this is important. Now, if you look at the story that was reported on January 17th here, I have a Fox 9 reporting of the story. This has to deal with the legislative auditor. And the legislative auditor had an extreme difficulty in order to get the information, and he had to issue a subpoena. And so that is an example where it shouldn't be this difficult to obtain information when Minnesotans have an expectation that information is secured, but in fact is breached. So members, I would hope that there is an agreement to adopt this language to remove this unnecessary criteria so that Minnesotans can have greater confidence that when their information, their private information is leaked, unauthorized, that the process for notification downstream would be easily handled. Thank you. Madam Speaker, with that, I think that this is an important topic that we take up, but I will withdraw at this time.
Representative Lucero withdraws the A46 amendment to the underlying amendment. Representative Petersburg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I would request a roll call on this one because I think it's important for us to deal with.
Representative Petersburg requests a roll call. Seeing 15 hands, there will be a roll call. Any further discussion? Representative Petersburg.
Again, I would just ask for your support on this particular amendment, because I think, again, we need to put some teeth into what the legislature has oversight over, and without that, we're going to continue to be what I think is whitewalled. So thank you. Please vote yes.
Thank you. Representative Petersburg, it is both a motion and an amendment. Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, I would encourage a no vote on the Petersburg amendment. If you look at the amendment, it says the appropriation under Section 2 is reduced to zero if at any point from July 1, 2018. It's clearly been in the press that the legislative auditor has had issued a subpoena and during that period of time. So this would be zeroing out the appropriation before any work is done. So I would encourage a no vote on the Petersburg amendment.
The clerk will take the roll on the amendment. The clerk will close the roll. There being 50 ayes and 73 nays, the motion does not prevail. The amendment is not adopted. There's an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Torkelson moves to amend House File Number 861, the first engrossment as amended. The amendment is coded A41.
Representative Torkelson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, the A41 is a very simple amendment. It just removes one word from the bill. We found out from the legislative auditor that the administration certainly is at fault for what's happened here with this situation with MNLARS. So if you look on line 3.24 of the bill, by removing not, the language then changes to say that the creation or payment of reimbursement grants under this section is an admission of liability by the state. In other words, fessing up to what they've done, that it was the administration that failed to make this thing, put this thing together properly, and we're just putting blame where blame lies, folks. It's just one word. It's a simple little amendment. Should be easy for you to vote for. You know, it's just one word. I request a roll call on the amendment, Madam Speaker.
Representative Torkelson requests a roll call. Seeing 15 hands, there will be a roll call. Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, I would recommend a no vote on the Torkelson amendment. Representative Torkelson was clear in what the intent of this was. Let's put it in a different language. It's saying, here's $10 million, sue us. I don't think that's the right approach we should take. You have the runs on what is available to deputy registrars during this fiscal year deficiency payment. I would recommend a no vote on A41.
Discussion. Seeing none, the clerk will take the roll on the amendment. The clerk will close the roll. There being 50 ayes and 73 nays, the motion does not prevail. The amendment is not adopted. There's an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Torkelson moves to amend House File Number 861, the first engrossment as amended. The amendment is coded A42.
The member from Brown, Representative Torkelson.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. The A42 is one of those items that got kind of tossed in the trash can earlier. Luckily, we had it in a couple of places so we could bring it back around. Thanks to clever staff, we had both our belt and suspenders on today, so I appreciate the chance to try again and actually perhaps get a vote on this time. This relates again to those couple of provisions that were added late to the bill that really put our deputy registrars in a position where they cannot really pursue what might be due to them. They have suffered greatly in this process. You've got a couple handouts that are going around the floor that come from a couple of resources that kind of go through some of those issues that deputy registrars have suffered through. I will just reiterate some of those things. First, you need to remember that deputy registrars are not all public employees. Some of them are private businesses. They need to make a profit in order to pay their employees. And when they can't make a profit, guess what happens? They have to go into their personal savings, deplete their personal savings at a time when they should be making money and paying their employees. And this has been going on now for 21 months, where they've been digging into their savings just to keep their businesses open, hoping that this program might actually start working, and hoping that maybe the state of Minnesota will make them whole with this money that we're trying to get to them. One deputy registrar has told me that the office used to do 600 transactions in a day. And then when they got this new grand program, they can only do half as many transactions in a day because each transaction takes twice as long as it used to. Imagine that you're an employer and you've got employees and you're paying them so much an hour to do work, and all of a sudden the amount of work they can do has been cut in half. How do you expect these folks to stay profitable? Overtime is one thing they've also had to use to accommodate this problem. And another thing that kind of remains hidden in this is that deputy registrars have to do a number of other transactions just to keep the ball rolling. So if you go in to get your license and you can't get it right away, they have to issue a 60-day permit. I'm sure you've seen these in the back windows of your cars going down the road. And if you don't have a license plate, you've got a 60-day permit. Well, if they can't get it in 60 days, then you got to go back in and get another 60-day permit. Well, that means that the deputy registrar has to service those customers a second time and gets absolutely no income for that work. There are other similar transactions. Madam Chair, I urge a green vote on this amendment, and I request a roll call.
Representative Torkelson requests a roll call. Seeing 15 hands, there will be a roll call. Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I want to acknowledge members, Representative Koznick, the provisions that Representative Torkelson is trying to remove with the A42 amendment were suggested by Representative Koznick, and I incorporated them. They are a good taxpayer protection provision requiring that when the money is received that they will stay open, and that there's the liability language that we've discussed several times. So I would recommend a no vote on the A42 amendment, and thank you, Representative Koznick.
The clerk will take the roll on the amendment. The clerk will close the roll. There being 49 ayes and 74 nays, the motion does not prevail. The amendment is not adopted. There's an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Torkelson moves to amend House File Number 861, the first engrossment as amended, and the amendment is coded A44.
Representative Torkelson.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I'm feeling very optimistic because Representative Hansen now is embracing Republican ideas. And that, you know, that warms my heart, Representative Hansen. I'm so glad that you've turned a new leaf, and I'm sure that now that you've gone in this brand new direction, that you're probably going to like this amendment because you like Republican ideas. And I'm thrilled to hear that. This is a very simple amendment, and it actually, you know, we've got $10 million in the bill for our deputy registrars. That was a pretty good number last year. When we passed legislation off of this House floor that was vetoed by the governor, I think we had $9 million in the bill. But these losses have continued, folks. It wasn't just what happened last year, it's what's continued to happen for months and months since. And it hasn't gotten any easier for the deputy registrars to do their work. In fact, the improvements that have been made in the program have added some functionality, but they haven't saved any time at the desk. Madam Speaker, this amendment just simply gets the level of money up to where it should be, to $27 million, which is a figure that the registrars have demonstrated is appropriate. And I'm sure that Representative Hansen's new attitude will help me get this across the finish line with a green vote. I request a roll call on the A44
Representative Torkelson requests a roll call. Seeing 15 hands, there will be a roll call. The member from Hennepin, Representative Carlson.
Madam Speaker, members, this amendment is out of order under Rule 4.05, an amendment that would increase the spending or spending base from any fund from which appropriations are made in the bill, or would increase the spending or spending base in total from all funds in the bill. What that's about, members, is that in the absence of a budget resolution, Rule 4.05 applies, and a bill cannot increase expenditures beyond what was reported out of the Ways and Means Committee.
Advice, Madam Speaker.
Representative Torkelson, state your advice.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is a deficiency bill. This is not part of the regular budgeting process. And I would think that because it's a deficiency bill, that any portion of the budget surplus would be available to this bill. That's what we're doing. We're taking money out of the budget surplus. That's where the $10 million is coming from. That's where the other $13.7 million is coming from. We've got, even though we got a haircut the other day on the surplus, we still have enough to fund this $27 million, I believe, Madam Speaker.
Advice, Representative Carlson.
Madam Speaker, good try, Representative Torkelson, but if you read the Rule 4.05, it's very clear that you're increasing the expenditures in the bill.
I find the point of order well taken. There's another amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Kosnick moves to amend House File Number 861, the first engrossment as amended. The amendment is coded A45.
The member from Dakota, Representative Kosnick.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members here. This is in the Representative Hansen kind of likes my ideas. I think he might like this one as well, and I think maybe all of you should listen carefully as the last amendment. Maybe we can cross the aisle and do something good here. Something that was taken a look at, we did input the what Representative Hansen calls taxpayer protections, just to kind of try to finalize some of this reimbursements. But the amendment, if for some reason there were to be a suit filed against the state or the the Commissioner of Public Safety, that they would be required to use the commissioner's budget instead of any trunk highway funds that we're very passionate about here to get all of our roads and bridges done. And for those of you that aren't very familiar, in transportation, the formula of all the funds that go into transportation, the Highway User Trust Fund, 62% of those funds, or after 95% of those funds, 62% of those goes into the Trunk Highway Fund, and so it affects all our districts in building roads and bridges. But you may not know that Trunk Highway funds do sometimes a little bit more than roads and bridges, so you're going to want to listen closely. That public safety also actually has 9 operational divisions, including driver and vehicle services, and that is funded with Trunk Highway funds. Part of that is the Bureau of Criminal Apprehensions. A lot of the funds for DWI enforcements are included in this. The Office of Traffic Safety uses Trunk Highway funds to reduce traffic fatalities. And so it's important that the commissioner, with this amendment, you'll be protecting these important things. DWI enforcement, traffic fatalities. The State Patrol receives some Trunk Highway funds. And so I think it's important just to kind of further protect our transportation system if there was some kind of a suit brought against the commissioner, that we don't mess with some of the items that I mentioned. So I would offer you to everybody come together, protect our roads, and the commissioner will use, if there's any kind of lawsuit, their own budget. And Madam Speaker, I request a roll call.
Representative Koznick requests a roll call. Seeing 15 hands, there will be a roll call. Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would support the amendment and encourage its adoption.
The member from Olmsted, Representative Quam. Any further discussion? Representative Koznick.
Members, I would urge a green vote in support of this preserving the Trunk Highway Fund.
The clerk will take the roll on the amendment. Members, please vote. The clerk will close the roll. There being 122 ayes and 1 nay, the motion prevails. The amendment is adopted. There's an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Petersburg moves to amend House File Number 861, the first engrossment as amended. The amendment is coded A30.
Representative Petersburg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And my last amendment maybe was a little bit overreach, but this one here is one that I think is not only common sense, but it is deserving of all of our votes as well. It really is something that we need to do, and Madam Speaker, I would request a roll call on this one as well.
Representative Petersburg requests a roll call. Seeing 15 hands, there will be a roll call. Representative Petersburg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So I would like to draw your attention to Section 1 and Section 2. The very first words on there is deficiency. Deficiency for MNLARS and driver's license system, and deficiency for DVS. And then look to Section 4, Deputy Register reimbursement. No deficiency there at all, even though they have been deficient on their funding for over 2 years. Here, the deficiencies are only for the next few months on these other programs. Why is it that the deficiency of $12 million for MNLARS? Look at line 1.11. That's because $5.5 million was needed earlier and was taken away from our Real ID program through FAST and used for MNLARS. Now they're needing, again, some more dollars, $6.7 million in order to figure that out. We've had an OLA report that has said look, the primary responsibility for this has been the Department of Vehicle Services, Department of Public Safety, and Minute, who did not do their oversight, did not put together the plan that is appropriate to get the job done. Not only that, they did not clean up their business proposals and the procedures so that the system had any kind of chance for success. And so now here, this bill is now rewarding the Department of Vehicle Services to the tune of $3.4 million for something that they actually could put in the next fiscal budget, some of the dollars in order to compensate for that in the past. And what are the deputy registers getting? $10 million. And as we heard earlier, what they are out over the last 2 years is closer to $27 million. Now we're keeping the Department of Public Safety and Vehicle Services, we're keeping them whole. And here the individuals that are really doing all the work and are really the working arm of the Department of Vehicle Services are getting really diddly. Let me put it in context for you. Something we can all understand. It's been snowing out, right? We've had really a snowy winter. Well, let's assume that your driveway out there has 4 inches of snow and you send your kids out there with just one of the curb shovels that allows you to shovel away, and they spend about 2 hours to do that. Now the next weekend, you get anywhere from 8 to 10 inches of snow. You send your kids out with the same shovels and the same amount of time and ask them to do the job. You think they're going to be successful? No, they're not. We're doing the same thing to our deputy registers and just saying, you guys just don't do anything. You know what we hear in committee from the Department of Vehicle Services and others about why this isn't working? Well, the deputy registers didn't do enough training. They didn't train themselves well. Well, guess who's their employer? Guess who has to be responsible for them? It's the Department of Vehicle Services. They did not give them the proper training. And here we're asking them now, no issues that they could have dealt with, it's beyond them, that they can't do anything. Just remember that the deputy registers cannot go out and get a different vendor. They can't go out and get different policies. They have to abide by what the Department of Vehicle Services and Minute and MNLARS has put onto them. What that means is that they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Matter of fact, they have to take an oath that they will abide by the laws of them. And so here, the legislature and the department has put them in this precarious moment. So I think this, if nothing else, is certainly worthy of getting the little extra dollars. The department and the agency can actually generate those extra funds later in a different agency bill. So let's give the department, the deputy registers this extra money. And that's all we're asking for is to be fair that we give them those dollars. And so I would ask for a green vote. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, I'd encourage a no vote on the Petersburg Amendment. What the Petersburg Amendment does is it takes $3.472 million that are in the bill, quote, to meet the customer service level needs of the business partners. So that's money to meet the customer service needs of the deputy registrars and the public, and giving it to the deputy registrars. Those customer service needs, the call centers, those type of things will be needed. I would encourage a no vote on the Petersburg Amendment.
Representative Petersburg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I would say, you know what? The deputy registrars needed $27 million to address the needs of the customers that are out there in the community. They didn't get it. Department of Vehicle Services, who is responsible for dealing with this, is asking for more money, but have never done anything to help. Matter of fact, their own testimony said that they understood that the deputy registers were going to have more work, yet they provided nothing for that. They didn't provide any kind of agenda or budget or anything to increase the fees. So you want to talk about deficiencies in order to keep the customer service going, the deputy registers are the what's not getting it. They're having to not only deal with customer service and do the job, they're getting nothing for it. They're getting penalized to the tune of $27 million. And we're saying, but DVS needs another $3 million in order to do their customer service to keep them whole, while we're saying the deputy registers needing $27 million to keep themselves whole are only getting half. That's not fair. That's not equitable. For you on that other side who are always talking about oppression and being fair to everybody, we need to do everything we can for deputy registers, and you're turning your back on them. When you vote no, you're telling them that you don't care about them. You expect them to bite the bullet, to go in debt, lose their savings. Some of them are taking second mortgages on their homes, and you're saying, we don't care about you because we're going to keep the people who are making the mistakes that are overseeing you, we're going to keep them whole instead. That's a travesty. And I really urge you to vote green on this amendment.
The member from Carver, Representative Nash.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I would urge a green vote on Representative Petersburg's amendment. I have been chatting with one of the many deputy registrars that I have a personal relationship with after spending the last, I think Representative Torkelson said 24 months that we've been going down this road. This individual deputy registrar is underwater by over $150,000 personal money. There are some that are $500,000 underwater. I think that this is egregious and outrageous, and I would urge you to look at the runs and think about the individuals that own those places or the counties that you represent. Madam Speaker, there's a little bit of noise in the chamber, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Nash.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Think about the individuals that you might see in the grocery store or go to church with, or your kids play soccer together. Those are the deputy registrars who have been taking this on the chin. This deputy registrar is in contact with me regularly, and he's underwater. He's losing employees. This is going to be a way, if you support Representative Petersburg's amendment, to get them some help. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Seeing no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll on the amendment. The clerk will close the roll. There being 52 ayes and 70 nays, the motion does not prevail. The amendment is not adopted. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House File Number 861, as amended.
Third reading, discussion. Seeing none. Oh, seeing some. The member from Brown, Representative Torkelson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, half a loaf is better than none. We try to improve this bill, but it does still do something for our deputy registrars, although I could understand why some members may vote against this bill. Giving any more money to this computer program that seems to be unable to work well may be a mistake. On the other hand, for me personally, I believe pulling the plug would also be a mistake, because then folks couldn't get any of these services. I'm going to vote green, but I can certainly understand why some of our members will vote red and try to send that message that we should abandon the state's efforts to write software and go elsewhere to someone who can do it right. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The member from Hennepin, Representative Hornstein.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. First of all, I'd like to thank Representative Hansen for all of his hard work, not only on this bill, but really being very engaged in this issue over the last year and a half or more. So thank you, Representative Hansen. You know, there are very, very important provisions in this bill that are worthy of support. You know, Section 1 is really related to the private contractors, private sector contractors that are employed at Minute that we may lose if this money doesn't come through. And it's, as you know, very, very difficult to find talented tech workers, particularly willing to come to the public sector. So this is very timely and very urgent that we are able to retain these private sector contractors that are working on this. Secondly, in Section 2, these are staffers at DVS that are needed to lower the wait times. Our constituents are on hold for long periods of time in order to get service to try to solve these problems that they're going through. So part of that problem is the lack of adequate staffing. And so Section 2 will add staff and potentially lower those wait times. And finally, members, I am very pleased with the fact that the executive branch, the new executive branch that we have, is very engaged with us as a legislature in taking this issue seriously. We have had 3 meetings with Governor Walz personally and his staff on a bipartisan basis. Representative Carlson, Representative Torkelson, Representative Baker have been involved in these meetings, and they have been substantive and they have been helpful. And I am very pleased that the governor himself and his commissioners are meeting with us on a regular basis. That's a good sign, and we hope that we can continue that process and, of course, continue the oversight process that this legislature initiated last year. So this is urgent, this is important. It's just the first step, and I think will help us begin to turn this ship around. That's really what we're doing here, retaining staff and helping DVS lower those wait times that our constituents are experiencing. So with that, members, I would urge a green vote.
The member from Carver, Representative Nash.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. Last year, several of us stood outside when there wasn't snow, and we were trying to get you all to join us in a veto override to get money to the deputy registrars. And we were trying to get them 10 million, a little shy of 10 million at the time. You voted no after Representative Hansen said the following, quote, "It is time to stop focusing on the me and let's focus on the we." And I got to tell you, my phone lit up from deputy registrars. They were outraged that you would make that kind of a statement. So members, I'm going to use that same quote tonight, but I'm going to use it as it relates to giving MNLARS any more funding. It is time to focus on the deputy registrars, not on internal processes that the OLA has called out twice, said that the administration and Minute was horrible, those are my words, at making software. And this should come as no surprise or mystery or new revelation to any of you. They are not good at this, and you're about to write them a check for a lot of money for no details. We haven't gotten any. Again, I asked the interim commissioner, I was asking in good faith, I wanted to see the details. He said that he'd get me the details. You know how many details I've gotten? 0. Not a one. Weeks have gone by since my request, no details. But we're now seeing this request for money essentially to go in kind of a black hole from my perspective, because we don't even know what we're going to write money for. Nobody can answer that question. What's the money going to go for? Oh, things, stuff, people. If we're looking for real solutions, it's time to get real details and real answers. We don't have those. So while I would love to give more money to the deputy registrars, and 10 million's an okay start, but giving a blank check for millions of dollars to the agency who's got this mistake on their watch, on their hands, you're just going to reward them for being incapable. That's what the OLA report said. I think that's reckless. So again, Representative Hansen's words, it is time to stop focusing on the me, the administration, and it's time to focus on the we or the them, the deputy registrars. I'm going to vote no on this bill just because I think it is irresponsible to drop that cash on the software. I think there are questions that we should be asking that we should have gotten answers for. So far, nothing. But when you vote green, I'm looking forward to the registrars being taken care of, but I think that you're going to be disappointed in your rewarding the MNLARS activities, because it's going to continue to be a giant boat anchor. And we did talk about boats earlier, but it's going to be a giant boat anchor. Members, I would urge a red vote.
The member from Wright, Representative Lucero.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So I'm presently serving in my third term, members, and in my first 2 terms, for 4 years, I had the distinct pleasure and honor of serving on the transportation committees. Unfortunately, this term, as I've expressed to Chair Hornstein, I was unfortunately not appointed to the fantastic committee. But in my time serving on the transportation committee in past years, I had the displeasure of hearing testimony over and over and over again at the debacle of MNLARS. What started out, I think it was a $46 million project. As we were approaching, a decade earlier, as we were approaching the conclusion of last year's legislative session, 2018, we were already at the approximate $100 million mark. And if you're, those who were here last session in 2018, we had discussions on appropriating another $10 million, which we did. So as we enter in this session, we're already sitting at the approximate $110 million mark, and a decade later. Then, as we're discussing this bill right now, we're looking at appropriating an additional $15.7 million on top of the $110 million. Then, Governor Walz releases his budget proposal. And I have the news article right here. This is from February 20th, Fox 9, reading just one line, or one paragraph. Walz releases budget to include $94 million through 2021 to finish a system known as MNLARS, operated for 2 years, hire staff, and reimburse deputy registrars who took a financial hit from the botched 2017 rollout. That's on top of the $15.7 million in stopgap funding that Walz was already seeking to get the system through June 30th. So members, if we add the $110 million to date, plus the $15.7 million we're discussing tonight, plus the additional nearly $100 million more dollars that is being sought on this system, I did the math, we're looking at nearly $225 million on this system. Nearly a quarter of $1 billion. So, members, this $15.7 million tonight, there is nearly $100 million more to follow this. And there's still no guarantee it's going to work properly. So, members, I would urge you to vote against this $15.7 million. How many more tens of millions or hundreds of millions of hardworking Minnesota taxpayer dollars do we need to throw at this failed system? It doesn't work. It is struggling. It's already had a data breach. It's not even finished yet. We need to end this now. We need to move to a system and not continue to throw bad or good money after bad. So members, I highly encourage you, vote red on this bill. This is the bad system. We're now in the 11th year. With more years and more money to come, let's be done with this. Members, vote red. Thank you.
Representative Petersburg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I will wrap up my comments very quickly. What my previous colleague said is almost absolutely true, except for a few things. One is that the $12 million, $5.5 million of that is not going to the MNLARS system. It's actually going to the second phase of our Real ID program, which actually is working very well. It's a different company. Why is that $5.5 million there? Because earlier on, they said, well, we could hold off on our payment so that you can use that funds in order to keep MNLARS running through the fall. And yet, the struggle that we're dealing with, can you imagine if we think the deputy registrars are in tough shape now, if we were to pull the plug, and how long would it take to get going forward, et cetera? I agree with Chair Torkelson, and I believe him when he says that they are making some progress. We know it's not right. We know it's not what's there. I'm disappointed that this body chose not to give a little bit more to the deputy registrars to keep them whole, but to not go forward with this proposal puts them even into a more dire situation. So I'm going to be supporting this bill, and I thank you for that. Thank you.
The member from Olmsted, Representative Quam.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. There are a lot of travesties in this event. There are a lot of blame to go around. One of the big travesties is a group that has no blame in this, that worked hard and helped our citizens, and they're on the front line, and they're not made whole. I think we all know who I'm talking about.
The member from Isanti, Representative Dowd.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, members. Appreciate this bill coming forward, and I appreciate what it's attempting to do. I think MNLARS has been one of the catastrophic failures of the last few years, and particularly on IT here in the state of Minnesota. We have let down not we, but I'll blame the previous administration. We have let down Minnesotans when it comes to operating something successfully, doing it efficiently, and providing good service to Minnesotans. I do appreciate, and what I want to thank you for, is including money for the deputy registrars in this bill. We owe it to these folks who really are victims. They provide great service to Minnesotans. They do it well, they do it efficiently, they do it effectively, and we have put them through hell in recent years. Now, I'm the leader of the Republican caucus, so I feel like I can speak with some authority on what the Republican position would be. The Republican position on this bill would be that we don't want money to go to MNLARS. We think it's a waste. We think MNLARS has been a complete failure, and we don't want to put any more money into it. But we do want to support our deputy registers. We think we should give them some money to make up for the fact that they have been negatively impacted by this horrible system of MNLARS. Many of them, and you've heard the stories about losing money and putting payroll on their credit cards and taking out second mortgages on their homes so they can stay open. We should be reimbursing those people for some of their losses. So the Republican position is we don't like MNLARS and we shouldn't fund that, but we do think we should put some money into our deputy registrars. So I understand there's been some negotiations with my friends over in the Senate, and I hope that they understand what the Republican position is. When this bill comes back, I hope there's less money for MNLARS, and there better be money for deputy registrars in it, because the public and deputy registrars are going to be very confused if Senate Republicans negotiate the MNLARS money, or excuse me, the deputy registrar money out of this bill. So I know what Republicans here believe. I know what Republicans over there believe because they passed it last year. So I hope that if this bill gets in some bigger agreement on some deal, that this bill comes back with money for deputy registrars in it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The member from Dakota, Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. I think Minnesotans want us to believe that we're working for Minnesotans and that there are things here we may not like, things we do like, but they do want us to problem solve. And problem solving sometimes isn't always fun. So I would ask very simply to vote green, yes, on House File 861 for problem solving.
The clerk will take the roll on the bill. Members, please vote. The clerk will close the roll. There being 89 ayes and 33 nays, the bill is passed as amended and its title agreed to.